All right, welcome back, Sunday Ballers. This is a special Friday installment of the podcast. It's going to be episode 4. And today we are going to be talking about what the world is talking about. What was last night, what is tonight, and what is the next night. And that is the 2026 NFL Draft. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about the first round, picks 1 through 32 that went down at 8 o'clock last night. We're going to be going down each pick. We'll go 1 through 32. We're going to give a grade for each pick, talk about it a little bit, talk about our favorites, our winners, our losers, and then to finish off, we'll get into best available. There's a couple guys available. Hint, hint, Jamad McCoy, McNeil, Caden McDonald, Colton Hood, Avion Terrell, all guys with first round or close to first round grades that fell. So we'll get into those in a little bit. But just to kick it off, we have the first pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. And the Las Vegas Raiders selected
Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana University.
Cal would work. Cal would work.
Cal would work. Yeah, so my grade on this is a solid B plus. Not a generational quarterback, but still a guy that you're hoping you could get 10 to 15 years out of, get you some playoff wins, especially in a really competitive division, and ultimately just give your franchise some hope. You see what Jackson Dart did for the Giants last year. Gave him a lot of hope, actually really sliding back in and getting him at 25. Like, it seemed kind of weird, especially with Shador on the board. But he gives them a little bit of swagger, a little bit of hope. Mendoza's probably going to do the opposite for the Raiders, like kind of make them like a little nerdier, but they kind of need that because they're in the middle of Las Vegas. But yeah, no, really, really do like this pick. I think it was pretty obvious. I think it was at 92% on Cal Sheet at one point, maybe even higher. But last time I checked it, it was there.
Yeah, I saw this at minus odds in the thousands. This felt like a lock. I saw somebody put
Yeah.
a whole bunch of money to win only a couple bucks, and I didn't really understand that. But I do see the rationale for the pick, and this was something we talked about a month ago, and the whole world knew where this pick was going.
As soon as he won the Natty and the Heisman, I mean, even before that, like before the Natty, before the Heisman, I think he was pretty consensus number one overall.
An unbelievable season, genuinely.
Yeah.
Indiana. They won the national championship this year. They went undefeated. That's that's never happened before. That was amazing. I'll talk about Mendoza a little bit, but I don't see him as one of those quarterbacks in the top range of the first pick. You know, those Lucks, the Williams, the Lawrences, the Mannings. You could go down, but I do see him as one of those stability floor raising quarterbacks that have been picked at number one, whether it's Jared Goff or Darnold, not
Baker
Darnold,
Mayfield.
Bradford, Baker Mayfield. Even I put Baker as more in the Kyler category.
I put
Guys
him.
that have a little higher potential, but also have lower floor.
Yeah.
But I really do like the pick a lot, especially to where he was drafted. I think the Raiders have done a good job transforming the dumpster fire from last season into a competent place for a quarterback to develop. Having Ashton Genty in the backfield, upgrading the offensive line, not bringing in, but having a all-pro type of tight end like Brock Bowers, those all matter, and that's going to make a big difference when building a safety net for your rookie quarterback. I don't think the Raiders will be a playoff team this season, but Clint Kubiak has the gas to give this team a push in the right direction, and in a few years, if they stay on the same trajectory, they could be a playoff team, and for how low the Raiders have dipped in these last few years, that would be monumental. So I give this grade a B+.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that B plus. Like you said, I kind of viewed Baker as the most pro ready. That's where my head was when I mentioned that, just because he did come in older,
Yeah.
very, and he came into the league like firing on all cylinders as soon as he got the keys.
Baker's got a story, man.
I love
I don't know
Baker.
where I'd rank him with those number one quarterbacks. He's above a lot of those other guys. I mean,
Yeah,
would you put him, and we'll keep going, but would you take him over Jared Goff a
Yeah,
number one overall pick. Okay.
yeah. I mean, hindsight
That's a
2020.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you put
At
Baker
the
on
time,
that,
I think I would have picked him too.
I think you put Baker on that Rams team that went to the Super Bowl. I don't even think they trade for Stafford. Um,
Funky.
yeah, I don't even know if they would trade for Stafford at that point. And I think if you put Goff in Cleveland at that point, I think Cleveland's not winning more than
Would have been rough.
5 games a season. Like
No.
Goff is one
Well,
of
you
those
watched that
quarterbacks.
Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was rough. I mean, it was a
Yeah,
Jared Goff disaster class. That was really bad.
yeah. I think Baker could
That was
have
the
put up
worst time
more
to
than.
understand.
I think Baker
CJ
could have put up more
Anderson,
than
CJ
13
Anderson
points.
was repping the backfield because there was no one else. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a dumpster fire over there. All right, let's move into the Jets pick, which was a bit of a surprise, but for us at least. I mean, it was between two guys. It was between David Bailey, who did get picked, and Arvell Reese. So we'll go with my grade here to start it. I give this a B plus, just because I think Arvell Reese is the better versatile. I think he's the better player overall, and he has a ton of versatility. And the Jets need someone who's
Yeah.
able to be a run stuffer at inside backer as well as an edge threat. They need a guy that doesn't need to come off the field, and you don't want David Bailey taken away from his pass rush reps with
Yep.
playing first and second down trying to stuff the run because that's just not the player he is. Maybe he
Agreed.
develops it a bit more, but he's the best pure edge in the draft. I think his bag is unbelievable. He saw him hit some gross ghost moves in game, which no one really does unless you're that confident you're going to be able to do it. And to be averaging over 1 sack a game in, or just, I think he,
He had 14 and a half, and I don't
14 and a
think.
half in 14 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So that's
just about one
extremely
sack a
impressive.
game.
That's very impressive, especially on a that Texas Tech team was loaded, but that means
And
he's
he
also
went
sharing those reps
and
with
he
people.
went yeah, he went against guys that he went against 3 first round picks from this draft this year that I'm well aware of at tackle
Yep.
with Fano, Lamu, and it's gonna be butchered, but the Arizona State
Nice, yeah.
kid, Ian Acre,
We'll go with that.
Ian Acor,
We'll
yeah.
pronounce it later. I'm not going to even give it a try right now.
Yeah, so just how well he did against those top guys that were first round graded dudes, and he was still making plays and he was noticeable on the field. I don't I don't blame the Jets picking him here, so I'll give it a
No,
B plus.
I like that grade. For me, I'm going to go an A minus. I like it a little bit more than you, I guess, but I do agree with Arvell was probably the pick for the impact that it can make, at least initially and moving forward. Bailey was the best pure edge in this draft, but he is a pure edge, and the Jets have more needs than pure edge. Pure edge has been propped up over the last couple of years as something that wins defenses, but it only wins defenses when you have the supplemental pieces to make it show its impact. But without those supplemental pieces, it's kind of pointless. So this might be a pick that they don't regret in a couple of years because they develop a team around him and the pass rush really makes an impact because he is an impact player, like we said, over a sack a game. But they could have used a guy that could play a little more, drop back behind the line. Reese has the availability to play middle linebacker. We're going to talk about that in a couple picks, but that's where the Giants are going to slot him in and have him, play off the edge sometimes, step up into. Really, he's going to be filling gaps, and he can play outside looks. I love Reese's adjustability, and I think he's not a gadget player, but he can be a gadget player, and that
Yeah.
matters. Same thing with Abdul Carter. So I got getting ahead of
Yeah.
myself because I really
Yeah,
like
let's move on. Let's move on to the Cardinals pick so we can get to the
Okay,
Giants
what do you
pick
got?
pretty soon. So here the Cardinals went with Jeremiah Love. I um I think it is. I think it's a good pick for the Cardinals. I think it's a great pick. I think he is the best player in this draft, in my opinion. Could flip a coin if you want to go downs. I definitely prefer Love just because of bias Notre Dame. I'm actually wearing some Clemson gear today, or LSU. Depends what team you're.
Clemson, and I got real ones now,
Yeah,
but
real ones now. Yeah, so yeah, huge Notre Dame fan. So I don't think this was a good pick by the Cardinals. That's why I'm going to give it a C plus. I think he is one of the best running back prospects coming out. But at the same time, the Cardinals are like the Raiders, a dumpster fire who picked a running back last year, and now they're picking earlier than where they picked last year. They were six, and now they're picking one.
Hmm.
I don't think the Cardinals could really drop lower than three,
It's very
but
well.
there's a chance. Honestly, there is a chance, and they did make some adjustments, but they don't really even have a quarterback right now. It's really just the Trey McBride. You're still waiting on Maserati Marv to like make a play, do something where he's actually like a consistent guy. And then you got Jeremiah Love. So I get what you're doing, setting up the pieces, but there are so many other holes on this team, and getting an anchor like Reese, getting a tackle like Mawaga Fano, and possibly trading back out of this pick so like a team could shift up and go grab Love. Like I think if a team like let's see who the Vikings were to trade up to three and grab Love, that would change their offense and like
Yeah.
imagine Jeremiah Love and Kyler Murray running read options and
Hmm.
speed options.
We've talked about it. It's
That's
something that it's a supplementary position. It's not something that you can start a base around. And that's
yeah,
been seen time and time again. That a running back cannot start your foundation with Trent Richardson or
yeah.
Leonard Fournette or even Saquon Barkley, a prospect of that caliber.
Even even Bijan too. Like the Falcons have not
Bijan.
been a team. Like it's a luxury position, and just having
They're
it is
bad despite having Bijan. Bijan is fantastic.
yeah.
Th-
Bijan's
He's a
phenomenal, and
supplementary piece. It doesn't matter.
yeah, and even like this is like a very extreme example. There's two guys that I've seen over the past probably 15 years that have actually been playing running back and led their team to very good seasons. And like the team surrounding them aren't bad, but they willed their team to playoff wins. And that's Derrick Henry and his Titans run. He is unbelievable, but he was like the consensus number one running back at that point. And
However,
Adrian
what round was
Peterson,
Derrick Henry selected in?
second round. Exactly.
Yeah,
And then Adrian Peterson, who I think he went 8 and 09
that's all
or
day.
08.
That's all day.
But
That's a Hall
yeah,
of Fame top
that's an and
six-ish
he
running
and he
back of
was
all time.
MVP, and they went 9 and 7 and got whooped in the first round because
That's true.
they had
It's also true.
Christian Ponder playing quarterback, and then he got hurt, and I think they threw in Joe
Joe
Webb.
Webb. Joe Webb.
I mean, no, I don't think it was Joe Webb. I think Joe Webb was hurt too.
No, Joe Webb started the playoff game.
Oh, he did? I thought he got
They
hurt
got
too.
fucking raped.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say that. They they, they got smacked in the playoff game. It was
yeah.
really bad, especially because they versed Green Bay. Remember they versed them the week before, and they beat them to make the playoffs, and then they
Yeah.
lost. We're not talking about that though right now.
Yeah, yeah. So Jeremiah Love has all the tools to be a great running back, but I'm very fearful that his career is either going to be cut short by injuries because of how poor the Cardinals' offensive line is, or I think he's going to be like a Travis Etienne where he's just getting used and abused for years, and then by the time he actually or K9 by the time he gets or even Brees Hall, especially Brees Hall. Like Brees Hall has all the talent in the world, but I think by the time he gets off his rookie contract, he's going to be worth like a third round pick just because of how poor the Cardinals are going to be over the next few years. Unless they draft perfectly and do a really good job in free agency, but they're the Cardinals
I
that never do that.
I guess I'm a little higher on the pick, but it's only because of Love. I'm a B minus, and
Yeah.
it feels weird putting it in the B's, being a running back at 3. But I really do love the fit. The value isn't there, and I would never advertise taking a running back in the top 5, let alone top 10 or 15. But maybe at like the Gibbs value at 12, I could get behind it.
Yeah, but Gibbs was even a reach in that draft.
Gibbs was a reach in that draft, but same thing with Love. Gibbs had the receiving potential that makes him a valuable piece. Jeremiah Love, especially in that backfield of whether James Conner's back or whoever else is behind, if he's not getting all the carries,
Yeah,
he
even though
may be
they signed
taking a lot
Algier
of
too.
slot reps. With the departure of Rondale Moore, rest in peace, they
Yeah.
don't have a slot receiver. So it would make a lot of sense to see a great snap share at slot next season. He could be a 50 reception guy, and he has the skills to play wide receiver. I mean, you don't pick a guy at 3 to have him
Be a
be a running
gadget
back,
guy.
but play him as a tool guy. But
Yeah.
frankly, because of how open this Cardinals offense is, I feel like that's how they're going to use him. They have to.
Yeah, they
They
kind of
must be
have to because,
ridiculously
like, I
high on him.
mean, you got James Conner coming back. I don't know when his injuries when he's
Let's
available.
hope he's
He
available.
got they just signed Algier too,
You know,
which is crazy. Like that would have been fine. Like running back was not a position you needed. Here at three, you need defense or offensive line, and
yeah.
there's teams that have addressed that issue, and it's not the sexy pick, but it is a good pick.
I
Um,
thought this was a lineman pick. I thought this was going to be where Maligo went.
yeah,
Everyone, he was the number one odds to go here,
yeah,
and I kind of expected it. But when I heard Love, I can't say I was shocked. It almost felt like their pick, and it wouldn't have been the pick I would have made if I was a GM. But I'm not the GM, so it doesn't matter.
yeah.
But I
Not
like the
yet,
pick just
not
because I
yet.
love Love as a player, but the value is not there. And he would have to be, like we talked about, a Derrick Henry or an Adrian Peterson for this pick to even be worth its weight. And
Yeah,
that's the problem, that it is the three pick in the draft. That if he's Saquon, it won't be worth his weight. Saquon hasn't made his worth at the number two pick.
not for the
Bijan hasn't
Giants.
made his worth the number four pick. And those are all pro guys we're talking about, but that's how different the value of a stalwart at tackle to start for 10 years or a running back to play out his rookie deal is. It's just the values, they're behind two different doors.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Move
number
on to
four pick.
the Titans pick here with Carnell Tate. This is a C minus for me. I hated this pick. I
I,
absolutely hated this pick. You do not take a wide receiver who's not the consensus number one, and on a lot of people's big boards, he could have been three, could have been two, but a few had him at one. The speed scares me. Running a 4.53 and like game speed and like 40
if I
times.
recall, he's both of our threes, right?
Yeah, he's
Was he?
both of our threes.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I mean, I get what you're trying to do, help out Cam Ward, but trade back. There was a chance Tate fell to 10. Like honestly, like there was a chance Tate fell a lot deeper than
Hmm.
probably 16 was probably the last place he would have like because if the
Yeah.
Jets had him at 16, there was no way the Jets weren't going to pick him.
Then again, I guess 20 was the absolute floor with Makai Lemon falling, and I thought the consensus rating was that Makai Lemon was higher than Carnell Tate.
Yeah,
Just watching the tape, it feels obvious.
I I,
No
I
disrespect to
I
Tate,
think the thing is I think it's more like
he is safe.
for that
He is a
Titans
safe bet.
offense, like I think they believe in Shamiri DK a decent amount, and he kind of fills that lemon role.
Fair.
But even I would rather have Tyson. I think Tyson's better even with the injury concerns because he's able to do it all. Like Tate's more like a outside threat, and I mean it might look really nice like a few of the balls that Cam Ward throws him, but
Hmm.
it's not going to look that nice when they're down by 30.
Yeah,
Because
I agree. I think it was the flash pick, but it wasn't even the flash pick I would have taken. I
yeah,
think they have bigger holes to fill, and the, if you look at their roster, their number one hole was not filling their wide receiver hole because they just gave $78 million to Wan'Dale Robinson, and they're different players, but they're not that different. I've been
no,
seeing a lot of I've been seeing the Devontae comps with Tate, which I don't really agree with.
Devonte Adams.
Yeah, I've been seeing those often. It feels like a little bit of rhetoric. I've seen the George Pickens stuff, which
I see
I like
more
George Pickens stuff.
I see more George Pickens, but like
I see the Pickens, I do,
I don't see
but
Ted.
I could even I don't know. I could see like I've seen a what is it, a Jalen Waddle comp, and I didn't hate that, but Waddle's slimier than Tate is. Waddle has better.
Waddle ran like a 4.3. This
Yeah,
kid's
he has
running a
better. He has
4.53.
better rack skills. I agree. I think they just look similar on their tape.
This reminds me of like the Corey Davis pick. Honestly, that's going to be my
Yeah,
comp to
yeah.
this pick. And the
I do.
Titans did take him at number 5. So
I agree. I don't love the pick. I'll give it. It's probably a C minus as well, just because I think for their team, especially because they traded up and got Kendrick Falk at 31. Why would you not take Arvell Reese here?
did
I
they?
just that would be
Yeah,
an
they
A
did.
plus pick. I don't understand why you wouldn't take him for team construction wise, especially because Robert Saleh is your head coach, a defensive guy. Why would you? Now you have wide receivers, and that's great that you have targets for Cam Ward now. That's fantastic, but they've paid Wan'Dale Robinson a bunch of money. and they've replaced Calvin Ridley with Cornell Tate. That's like static. That's not great. It's a lot to commit to a wide receiver room where there's so many other holes to fill in the offense, and you're only going to be a tick better from next year. The Titans are, unless Cam Ward takes that monumental jump to a top 10 quarterback, which I don't really see happening under this context, they're going to be in the same position next year. I don't see them hopping out of the top 10. And isn't that what you're looking for? I get it. I get him as a developmental piece, and I don't think he's a bust prospect as much as Corey Davis was. And I don't know. Are we going to go on here and say Corey Davis was a bust? Maybe not. That might even be a controversial take. But
Yeah, I don't think he's a bust. I think he was just picked way too early. I don't think
yeah,
that's his fault.
I agree, and it's probably the same as this pick, but only time will tell. But now we have the number 5 pick, and that is
The Giants took Arbel Reese. This is so
they did.
far the best pick in the draft. I was ecstatic. I'm not. I, I don't bleed blue. I'm in support of New York sports teams, but I don't bleed blue like that. Also, I glaze over the Jets. Like I really could care less what they do. They're not really a team. They're more like a pile of crap.
Shout out New York Jets.
Yeah, but the Giants with Arbel Reese here, I love this pick because it gives you so much variety. And losing Dexter Lawrence is a big loss, but now you have a guy that's going to be gap shooter. You got a guy that's going to be able to line up at inside backer. An off the ball linebacker at 5 is a little tough, but at the same time, he's still able to play edge. The Giants do have a high capacity for edge, and he's never going to come off the field. He's going to be playing 3 downs every single series. He is the best defensive player in this draft, aside from Caleb Downs, but at a more luxury position. And I think if you want to figure something out where, I don't know, we were talking about this last night with how the Giants probably want to set it up with like a 3-4 setup.
Yep.
So we were thinking one of the D linemen be Abdul Carter. That's what I think would make the most sense. He does, and like put him in the 5 tech there, and then have your 2 other guys there. This is what I think
Ideally, yeah,
the Giants should
you'd
do.
have Abdul, you'd have Burns on the other side. If you're
And then
keeping
Thibodeau.
Kayvon, what reports are saying you're keeping Kayvon, so you
Yeah,
have him. And then there's talks about assigning DJ Reader. I don't want to trust anything until it comes out. It was Schefter that
yeah,
reported it, so maybe. But
yeah,
him or Darius Alexander, that's a fine forefront. And then
yeah,
you have Edmonds, you have Arvell Reese now. Who, spoiler, it's an A to A plus pick for me.
yeah.
I
It's an A for me.
it's an A, 2 A plus just for the value because I thought he'd be
Yeah,
gone by 3 the
yeah,
latest. So to
yeah.
get him,
No,
and he does fill a huge hole for us because
yeah,
if you cut open these arteries, they spew blue. I am a Giants fan to heart. I've been ever since I was little. And this pick had me clapping like I was the dude from Rudy. I mean, we were clapping it up. I was very excited because this was a smash pick, and I wouldn't have been upset if we took Downs here, but this fills so many holes, and like you said, he is a guy that's going to stay on the field 90% of the time. He is never going to get a break, and that's okay because that's the type of player he is. He has a great motor, and he's going to make a difference. I've seen reports of him playing middle and being more of a tool piece to transition down to the line and rush in certain sets, and that's what Harbaugh's here for.
yeah,
I really like the pick, and
yeah. I
it's a step
think
in the right direction.
I think it's going to be like more like that Kyle Hamilton role where he doesn't come off the field and he's just all over the place. And depending on how he fills out for the NFL, they might have him lose weight. He might play more like that Emin Warrior role in Seattle, something like that. But like we think that highly of him, where he could really do anything he wants to do.
Funnily enough, yeah, he does have the move. He has the speed to play safety.
Yeah,
He's not a guy that is boxed into a certain position.
no,
I like him at the strike position. You could play him
yeah, just
where
play him
he's coming
everywhere.
up, and then he's playing ball hawk, air traffic controller half snaps, and he's playing on the line. He could be a stand up guy like Branch does all the time.
Yeah,
I'd really like that. It's a great pick. It's an A. You know what?
yeah.
I'll even give it for the value alone and what it's going to give for us next season. How much of an immediate impact this pick makes. This is a wow. I love it. It's an A plus for me.
This I'm gonna give it an A because I'm saving A pluses for I think I'm gonna save him for probably two picks. I'm gonna
This is in that group for me. This is an A
yeah.
plus. This is
I'm probably gonna save it for yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna give
really,
it a
even though you had him as your best defender as well.
yeah because I think it's just more situational.
Yeah, fair.
Because
There was other needs.
Because the Cardinals and Titans just screwed up so bad.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the Giants really did anything here that really
True.
was that
Oh, I'm not.
impressive.
I'm not giving any credit to Joe Schoen. We'll talk about the
No.
number 10 pick, but you know, doing
Yeah.
making the best decision with what is at hand is something,
Yeah.
and I
I'll give
appreciate it.
I'll give it an A
Yeah.
for now,
Okay.
and then maybe later I'll retract that and give it an A
Yeah, we're
plus.
doing
But
your
well,
grade is your grade, please.
yeah, because
I'm at
I think I'm gonna save one A plus for one team because
feeling number 11 might be an A plus. I have a weird
yeah,
feeling.
yeah. Okay, so the sixth pick was the Chiefs. They traded into this pick to get Mansour Delane. I found this really odd. I'm gonna give it a probably a B, probably B plus. It does address needs and vacancies that they had in the offseason, but I didn't understand trading up to this pick and getting him here. It just didn't make sense. Like I really didn't know what team was going to go corner here. I felt like the Browns were going to go Downs, you know, like, but to really just jump the Commanders and Saints to get
Yeah, the
Delane,
Commanders were
it's
taking
kind of
Styles either way. He was their pick.
yeah,
We
no, and
talked about it.
Styles might have went, and I know the Chiefs really needed a corner, so that's why I'm giving it a B out of positional need, and he is the best corner in the draft this year. If you can't tell, I think he was the only one taken
Yep.
yeah, yesterday.
And
So no. There was two, and well, I forgot about
the
that
kid
man.
from who went?
Chris Johnson to the
Oh
Dolphins.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
Okay,
I did not see coming, but I
no,
guess we'll talk about that later.
but to have a lockdown number one corner on your team when you're in a championship window, it makes sense. The Chiefs are always going to be in a championship window as long as Mahomes is back there slinging, and not crippled. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I agree with just about all of that. With the departures they had this offseason at the secondary positions, it was their position of need. I give it a B plus, but if they took him at the 9 where they were originally slotted, I would have given this an A.
Yeah,
I still love the pick. This is who I had them selecting in our mock, and I really loved it. It felt like this was their guy, and he really was their guy. This only tells me that there was such a separation between him as a cornerback one and everybody else on most people's draft boards. Because if so, why would you do this? I mean, the Chiefs are one of the more competent teams we talk about in the NFL. So
yeah,
there must have been a reason why they traded up. It confused me a little bit. I was a little befuddled at the time.
yeah,
But there was a reason for it, and it's that they get a bona fide cornerback one now, a guy that
yeah,
slots in week one and is an impact player. I have no problems with him lined up against anyone in the NFL. I don't. And yeah, it's going to be a learning curve, of course, playing in that division. You're going to deal with your fair share.
yeah.
But who is his number one?
I want to see him against Jalen Waddle or
That's
Cortland
going to be
Sutton.
fun. That's exactly what I'm thinking
That's gonna be
about. Waddle or Sutton
cool.
on the outside, that'll be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be
Ladd will be a
cool.
lot of fun. But it's not the most impossible division in the world, and it's actually a good place for a corner to develop. Why do you think the
Yeah,
Chiefs have developed so many of them? Because it's a relatively easy schedule for a cornerback. So
yeah,
he'll get he'll have some cushion. Spags is an excellent defensive coordinator. He
yeah,
knows how to use him. And I really do love the pick. It just doesn't get into the A's because you had to give up other picks to get it.
yeah,
But I still love the pick. It's a B plus for me.
yeah. Yeah. No, I have it at a B. I love Delane, but just again sliding up kind of really threw me for a loop. So at number seven, the Commanders went Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
Freak athlete. His intangibles, like what he did at the combine, was
Yep.
unbelievably impressive. Reese was not that far behind him in any of these categories, but Reese's game tape is a lot better than Styles' game tape,
100%.
and also Reese's size is a lot better than Styles' size because just of how
He fills it out a little more.
Yeah,
They're very comparable size
yeah,
wise. I think Arvel's 6'4.5",
yeah,
240, and uh, Sonny's 6'5", 235, around
yeah,
there.
and like yeah, and like him coming out of like that safety position,
Yeah.
and you know, Styles is a freak, and he's going to be very similar to Reese, where he's doing everything, hybrid role, just doing everything for that Commanders defense. And I will give this pick a honestly A minus, B plus. I really like this pick here. I just think it was pretty like I thought he was going to fall to, I assumed Reese would have been taken ahead of time, and I thought the Giants would have went with him here at 5. So I didn't think he would be here, but I think just sitting here doing a good job. And I feel like a lot of teams that just sat on their picks and just actually uh, picked where they were supposed to pick instead of trading up did a really good job just letting the
Yep.
really good players fall to them, especially in the top 10. And yeah, Sonny Styles here was a great pick. Again, just a freak athlete, and and the Commanders need defensive help across the board. And he'll be learning from Bobby Wagner, who's
Hmm.
one of the best defensive players we've seen, or one of the best middle backers we've seen
Hmm.
throughout our short expert career.
But it's true.
Yeah,
And this is a pick was one of my favorites in our mock that we did. It just was such a glaringly obvious pick if he was here, and that's why this pick gets an A to A plus for me. And I want to be a little frugal with my A pluses, but because of the innate value of this pick, because of his high end potential to be a gold jacket type of guy with those physicals, I mean, they're unheard of. Because of how he's going to be taken to a place where he gets to be developed by a Hall of Fame middle linebacker, a guy that has been a staple of the league since 2012, and he really hasn't showed any signs of slowing, which is funny, though he's probably towards the end of that. But I really
yeah,
like the pick. It probably gets more of an A for me than an A plus, just because
yeah,
I still don't love Styles tape. Even
yeah,
watching the draft last night, and they're showing his best clips, and I'm watching, and I'm like, he's athletic. Like you can tell
yeah,
he has it, but it's just the aggressiveness. We've talked about this before,
yeah.
but
Arm
it's
tackling, aggressiveness,
arm
like
tackling.
things you can't teach, and like
Shit that Bijan's gonna make you eat your tongue for, like
yeah,
stuff
like
that like
Bijan's gonna put him in. It's gonna be a welcome to the NFL moment. He's gonna be a face full of dirt within
oh my god,
every first.
Scatterbo's gonna run through his fucking ball sack.
Yeah,
It's
that
insane.
and you gotta play Scat twice a year. You gotta play Saquon twice a year, and even Javante Williams twice a year. That's it's hard guys to line up against. Those are
Yeah.
bruisers. Those are guys that will run through you.
So he'll learn quick, but I do like his fit for the Commanders, filling
Yeah,
in that linebacker spot, especially with the age or the
yeah,
whatever.
and again, like I think he could. I think a lot of teams are really going for that striker role, like high, just a bunch of athletes on the field, and you see it like in the NBA a lot, like just having a
They
ton of
mash.
athletes that could kind of do everything. And yeah, I think having a guy like that on the field is very important. You also need guys that are very like position heavy. Like you don't need like a ton of. I mean, this would probably be fun to watch. A ton of Nick Emmons just all over the field and just
Yeah.
playing like 11 Nick Emmons.
11 Nick Emmons out here. Now that would be a team. That's
Yeah,
my
but
dream.
you need guys that are 300 pounds on the line, and you need guys that can fly at like 200 pounds in safety and corner. Like that's like it's not as much where like the NBA where like you're able to just line up athlete on athlete and just out athlete the other
Yeah.
team. You need to be positionally aware, but having at least one or two guys like that could kind of just be a hybrid guy and just do it all is very important.
And I
So
agree. He might even be more of a safety for me. If I could pick him
yeah,
in a perfect spot, he might be just that striker.
yeah,
It takes the right team to run it or execute it, but in the
yeah,
right spot, man, he could be an impact
yeah.
player.
But the Commanders still have Quinn, right? Dan Quinn, head
Yeah.
coach.
Do
Yeah,
they still? Yeah,
I
I think
believe
so.
so. I believe he's still there. Um,
They fired their OC. I don't think they fired Quinn.
yeah, they fired Cliff. Yeah, but Dan Quinn, yeah, he's a great defensive coach. He's gotten a lot. That Cowboys defense when he was coaching them was actually not bad on Cowboy standards. He did a
Quinn's been
great
a good
job.
coach. No hate to Dan Quinn.
Yeah. All right. We'll move into the Saints pick with Jordan Tyson.
Fun pick.
I love this pick for them. I think they're buying into Shao. The offensive line's not horrible. They just signed ETN, and lining someone up across from Olave, and Olave could teach this kid too. Olave's still like near, like he's about in his prime right now. So I think if you really believe in Shao and you're going to give him the weapons to possibly win that division this year, I 100% agree with this pick. I am giving it an A plus. That's how much I
Really?
like this
This is an
pick.
A plus.
I love Jordan Tyson. I thought he was gone at 5. I thought he was gone at 7. I think the Saints did a great job taking him here. And the injury concerns are concerning, and that does have to pan out. But he is by far and away, without the injury concerns, the best receiver in this draft. And I would be less upset with the Titans taking him at 4 than Cardinal Tate. I'll give it an A. I'll give it an A. A plus was a bit aggressive. I'll give it an A. I really do like this pick, though.
I'll speak with your heart, but I do agree. I would have rather the Titans taken him at 4 than Carnell Tate. He fits their offense a little bit better. But I give this pick a B plus just because, and you try to put the injury concerns aside, and let's hope that they don't carry over the NFL. But drafting 2 injury-prone wide receivers or having your best 2 as injury-prone is a little scary in the Saints offense. You'd hope that they stay on the field, and that's the potential of this pick. This pick could pan out to be an A, and I've talked about a little bit that show could carry them to the playoffs next year. They're my team. They're my projection from worst to first, and I stick with that. And that also goes with this pick that I really do like the Tyson pick. I like his fit into this offense. I think he could be the reason why Show throws for 3,000 yards next season, 3,500 yards. You give 12 to Chris and you give another 1,000 to Tyson and you make it work. But I really do like the pick. I like his fit in this offense. I like the pop it gives. There was nobody else here that I would have loved them to take. I think this was probably the first realistic spot for Ruben Bain to fall, just because of their D-line. Cam Jordan hasn't been re-signed yet, and he's 37 anyway. And they don't have any major disruptors in the D-line as well. So I think I would have been fine with Ruben Bain here, but there was a reason he fell to 15. I don't think teams loved his I don't know, I guess his professional appeal, his personality. I don't know. I saw like the arrest stuff or whatever, and I'm not going to get into that. But I really, to get back to the pick, I really do like it. It's a B plus for me. He fits into that offense very well. He should play well opposite of Chris Olave and open up the ball, not just for that offense, but Chris Olave. This could be a, people will hate on this and say, oh, it takes away from his target share, but they need somebody to take away from his target share. They need somebody to keep him healthy. They need somebody to make sure he's not getting doubled every play. So I really do like it, and yeah, B plus.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so that was an A for me, and then we got the Browns pick here with Spencer Fano.
Yep.
Offensive line was something they needed to address. They lost a ton of people. I think it is a very good pick here. Again, I think Mawaga was made more sense here. And I kind of wish they picked him because then the Giants would have probably went downs. Um, but yeah, Fano's good offensive tackle. I don't think you're taking the best guy on the board, so I'm going to give it a B minus. And honestly, Fano was more in the range from 10 to 20. He didn't seem like a top 10 pick at
I agree.
number 9. And you traded out of there, and you could have gotten downs. Like there's better guys on the board.
Mm,
I wasn't a big fan of this pick. Yeah, I think like a C plus, maybe a B minus. Yeah,
really?
and his tape is not. It's
It's
not.
not fantastic.
He has some highs, but like the lows are low, and like if he really reaches those highs, and hindsight's really 2020 on this one, then and he develops into one of the best, like a solid cornerstone offensive tackle for 10 to 15 years. Can't complain.
Yeah, I think this is a B minus for me. And it's a B minus half of this was a great trade up
Yeah.
candidate. This was a great trade out candidate for the Browns. And like we've talked about, they have so many holes on this team that they could have used more than one first round pick. So that's why it gets a B minus, because he does fill a hole. They need offensive linemen. Shadur needs some protection. Judkins needs protection. There's a reason why he was rushing yards per carry in the threes last year. I believe it was 3.6 he ended at. They need linemen, and he does fill this hole. I don't love Fano's tape, but his highs are his highs, and I think that matters. But it was more that I thought they could have gotten better value from trading out of this pick. I don't love taking a player here, especially a lineman, where the consensus, he must have been their, obviously he was their favorite lineman, but the consensus was very varied, it seems, that teams like, I bet some teams liked Proctor more. I bet some teams liked Freeling more. I mean, we'll talk about the number 10 pick next, but I bet a lot of teams like Maui. I have to know how to pronounce it now, so I think it's
I say
Maui.
Mawaga. That's what I heard.
I've been hearing Maui Noah, like the
Maui
G
Noah.
sounds more
Okay.
of an N. I think it's Maui Noah, like almost like G, but like Maui Noah, like Maui Goa.
Yeah, I don't see an N in there, so I'm gonna say I'll say Maui Noah. I'll try.
Maui Noah. Maui. I thought it
Anyways,
was Moaga for the longest
yeah, me
time.
too. We'll try Maui Noah.
Yeah, just call him
Anyways,
Francis, but
not really much more to say about the Browns pick.
yeah, it's the Browns.
Giants pick here. We have a lot to say.
I do. I do.
I'll start it because I'll be a little quicker. I'm gonna start by saying I think it is a B plus. Um, Especially trading Dexy for this pick. I think you got a good return on Dexter Lawrence for this pick, but there was some, and Mwaga is, in my opinion, the best offensive tackle in this draft. Should have went to the Browns, but yeah, no, I'll give it a B plus for sitting on this pick and really just making the most out of it in a position you really need.
Yeah.
That being said, it's not in the A range just because Caleb Downs is on the board. You're telling me if you don't have a guy in the skies like Caleb Downs and then you have Arvell Reese, that
Mm.
would have been one of the best productive units this year alone. Like,
I told you that's my dream draft. That was my dream
yeah,
draft. There would have been
yeah.
ejaculate all over the living room. It would have been fucking
The
crazy.
the reason the reason I'm not as low on it as some people not getting Downs is because you got Jackson Dart. He took a lot of unnecessary hits last year. You got Scat. You're trying to really build something on that offense because the defense is a pretty solid across the board. But yeah, and I think Malaga is a great run blocker, a ton of power, huge dude, and I'm a big fan of this pick. And I understand not taking downs here, especially going double up on defense when that was really not by far and away the problem with your team last year. Um, so it made sense to go defense, offense, especially with Reese there. If Reese wasn't there, it would have made sense to go like Tyson Downs, something like that, or
Yeah.
Tyson Styles, something along those lines. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. So I'm actually a bigger proponent of the draft of this pick than a lot of other people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm probably a B flat. If you watched my eulogy to Dexter Lawrence video, I talked about how I believed the Giants would go defense at 5 and then take a lineman or offense, but I talked about lineman and wide receiver at 10. To get into this pick, it's a B, not because of the quality of the pick. I do like the Mauigoa pick because he is, like you said, the best tackle in the draft, at least in my eyes. But I don't understand it along the Giants' terms. We have two tackles. We have three tackles. We have Illuminor, we have Embo, and we have Andrew Thomas. They've already talked about how they are planning to move Francis into guard next season, which is great, but why would you pick a tackle to shift down to guard if he's in? I get the value of it. The tackle will, in turn, return more over time. When it comes to if you ever have to trade him, or I mean, you'll have to pay him more, but he does have more value intrinsically over time. The tackle is going to have better ROI. But this should have been Ione if you were going to pick a guard or a tackle to switch down to guard. This should have been Ione. That would have been an A for me because he was the best guard in the draft, if not the best lineman in the draft. Positional value aside, he probably was the best lineman in the draft. Or the obvious pick, the very obvious, the pick that would have been an A triple plus, Caleb Downs, and I'm not going to be one of those fans that comes on here and screams at the team for not taking a flashy defensive player when they drafted a lineman. I'm not going to be that type of guy, but the type of guy that Caleb Downs is makes me want to say that because he was my favorite player in this draft, but not just my favorite, but I believed he was the best player, hands down, in this draft. He was the number one on my big board. He is an immediate impact player. Everybody knows it. The Cowboys were thrilled. You should have seen they locked it in the second they came up, and their war room was jumping up and down. They were ecstatic. They really were. But besides that, I really do not hate the pick. It is smart to take a tackle to support Jackson Dart. However, if you are going to play him at guard, the pick should have been Ione. And if you were, besides that, you probably should have just taken the best player available because we have a huge hole at secondary. With that said, the pick is a B, and I still don't hate it. I think I like it, and he will be a starter this season, and hopefully he's amazing. But I just can't get behind, at least fully, drafting a tackle for positional value when you're just going to play him at guard. I don't understand that.
Why do you
I
think
do
they're going to play him at
understand it.
guard?
I just don't agree with it.
Why do you think
It's
they're going to put?
they put out a basically like last night kind of stuff from the team was released that they're going to play. Same thing. It was kind of in the Reese report where they're going to be playing Reese at middle a lot and let him shift down. But the plan is to shift Maligoa inside and let him play guard
Oh,
next.
okay. Then my grade is dropping to B minus.
Yeah, because why wouldn't you pick Ione there? I
Yeah,
don't understand
that
that.
does not make
Like
any sense. That
it
that is a
doesn't make.
whole. That's that
He's
honestly.
he's a big motherfucker. He's not a guard. Like
Honestly, move Illuminor. Move him to
let him play
guard. Like,
guard. I agree. Let him develop, which I could see maybe happening. But I think they like Embo long term at that tackle spot, opposite of Andrew Thomas. I hope so. I mean, we drafted him. He showed up all the
then why,
potential in the world last
why
season.
take that? That's such a bad pick now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like. It's a good pick inherently because of the tackle value, I guess, to get the best tackle in the draft at 10. And then if you ever have to move him, but there's also the downsides of it that you're going to have to pay him tackle money, even if you play him at guard. You're still going to have to pay him tackle money one day. And that's the positive. The positive is that you have to pay him. The negative is that he's Evan Neal or Eric Flowers or any of the above. And then we're in deep shit, and we didn't
Well,
take the lock to be a productive guard. And basically, he's a lock to be a Pro Bowler in my eyes. Ione, I've watched more tapes since we've talked about him. Wow, he's good. Wow, he's so good. But if you wanted the potential, then you take Proctor there. That's why
yeah.
it's a little
Um,
tchotchke, especially besides the fact that you let your division rivals, who have to play twice a year,
take
get
Caleb
the best
Downs.
player in the draft. You saw how
And
pissed off Malik Neighbors was. I
yeah.
I don't understand,
Um,
but whatever.
yeah.
Still
So
not that
we'll
bad.
move into that pick. The Cowboys taking Caleb Downs here. I think it's the best pick in the draft. A plus.
Like that.
Being able to and then they traded up. I think they had the 12th pick. They traded up with the Dolphins, and to jump the Dolphins to ensure you get this guy, he is going to change that Cowboys team. And later, what the Cowboys did with their 23rd pick, I think their defense is going to look a lot different. Especially like you got Bland, you got Quinn Williams, Logan Wilson still back. I think that defense is definitely making a lot of steps in the right direction after
100%.
departing. And didn't they get Rashad Gary too?
Do they have him now?
Yeah, I think the Packers traded him for.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. So that defense is very different, and that is honestly that was their biggest hole, and that's what they needed to address and fix. And Caleb Downs is a consensus pro ready. He's as pro ready as a safety's going to get, and he has all the intangibles that all the great safeties do. Not like a massive freak like Kyle Hamilton, but sitting around like above 6 foot, being able to play in the box and be in the skies, like you're locking up that. If you're running cover three with Bland and forget who else they have, but and Downs, I'm pretty happy with that for the Cowboys, and I really, really think this is A plus 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 plus. Like just
Yeah.
like to get him at 11, I would have taken him at 5 for the Giants, and I would have given it an A.
Fantastic. I would have taken him at 3 if I was the Cardinals.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Honestly,
genuinely.
yeah. I think. any of those, and safeties are like, like one of those positions that are like a luxury, like
I
whatever you
would have
want to
genuinely
call it.
taken him at two. I would have, if I was the Jets and you
I
want a
might have
guy that's
taken
going
him
to
at, I might
genuinely
have
be a
taken him at
difference
one.
maker,
I might have
I
taken him
would
at
have.
one.
If it was a different team and it was not the Raiders and they wouldn't have to trot out Aiden O'Connell at starting quarterback next year,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Or Kirk Cousins, I guess they would trot out, which I
Kirko
know.
Chains. Okay. I'll let you get your 2 cents on it because,
Yeah, we'll keep it moving. We want to keep this under 2 hours, obviously,
yeah,
just for your guys' concern as well for us because I have to go to work later. But
me too.
and so does Jake. But basically, what we're talking about, the Cowboys. I strongly dislike the Cowboys from the bottom of my heart. So it pains me to say that they were the clear winners of day one of the draft. It's painful that they made an A triple plus pick here. Just the value is insane. I saw that there was only a 12% chance that he fell here, which is kind of a silly statistic because it's really only based on NFL teams. It's only based on 32 GMs. It's not based on any abstract statistic that, PFF makes or whatever, or
Yeah.
whatever bullshit AI thing they got. However, this was not a guy that should have been there. There's a reason why they had to trade up one pick to get him off a team that was not going to take him because I'd have to assume that multiple teams were calling the Dolphins. We have to get this guy. Like, we didn't think we'd be able to get him, but man, let's move the franchise to go get him because he's that much of a difference maker. I absolutely love the pick. I think, just like we said, he's going to slot in immediately. He transforms a defense, and it's going to be really painful to play against him twice a year.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the Dolphins pick at 12 with Caden Proctor. Honestly, thinking about it more and more, I thought this was a pretty odd pick, just because I wasn't as high on Caden Proctor as many people were. And I saw him like going in like the 20s, somewhere in that range. But getting him at 12 might have been a reach, but he has one of the higher ceilings out of all the guys in the draft. And you saw like even what he was doing, and this sounds kind of stupid, but like being able to catch passes and move like that as an offensive lineman does show like an athletic ceiling that a lot of guys do not have here.
Yep.
So for the potential, and the Dolphins live on potential right now. Like even with the Malik Willis thing, and they're hoping one of their receivers develops, one of their younger guys develop to be a true number one there. And I think they're doing the same thing with offensive line. They're kind of just taking shots because honestly, Proctor could be out of the league in 3 years, or he could be a generational tackle. Like he has the biggest ceiling and floor, like the biggest gap between what he really can be and what his potential is. And even if he's like a cornerstone um, 10 season tackle, that's still pretty decent for the 12th overall pick. Like I wouldn't complain about that at all. So yeah, honestly, and he's the build's insane and just like the athletic potential, like I mentioned.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought Lemon would go here.
Yeah.
And initially, when that happened, that was the pick that I thought they should have went with. But now going back, I actually don't. I changed my opinion that I put this pick at an A minus. I like Proctor because of his potential. He has straight up the highest potential out of any lineman in this draft. I truly think in the right position, which is tough because it is Miami, but he could develop into a absolute hog moly. Seriously, he has crazy movement skills. As long as he keeps down his weight and stays healthy, which he's in the NFL, he should be able to do. This could be a big pick. And with why I actually step back on the Makai Lemon situation is because this is a straight rebuild. This is a full gut. They knocked down the walls of the house. There is a full rebuild. So taking a weapon here, you know what? You got to build from the ground up. And I really do
Yeah.
like the lineman pick here to protect Malik Willis. Yes, next season will be a Malik Willis public humiliation ritual. It's going to be bad. Like, there's no one for him to throw to. It's really just the Devin Achen show or ETN or whatever show. It's going to be rough, but they know that. But this is a foundational piece for the future. And that's why I really like the pick.
Yeah, neither me or you didn't give a grade on it. I'd give it a B plus. I'd give it a B because I still think it is a bit of a reach, but I really do.
I think I said A minus. Did I say A minus?
You might have. Okay, I'm like B plus here. And then
He was my yeah. He
we
probably
got the
out of
funkiest
everybody on
pick
the
of the
board.
draft. We got the funkiest pick of the draft right here.
Oh,
Rams
okay.
at 13 picking Ty Simpson, and I'm gonna give this a D minus. This is a D minus here. I do not think that highly of Ty Simpson, and I don't think he's really that separate from Nussmeier or Beck. Like, I mean, he did produce well at Bama, but you've seen how many Bama guys do you have that have come out that have been productive starters in the NFL? You good? Are you still reacting to
I'm
my?
wonderful. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were reacting to my take. I thought you were like,
I was reacting to something outside. It was
oh,
just
okay.
something funny going on
It
outside.
was weird because like you're looking at me on the screen. I was like, oh, okay. But
It's okay.
it
It's
doesn't work like that.
spoiler alert. It's 85 degrees here. It's sunny, and I live in a college town. So like that's just. I was just looking out my window. That's all
Yeah,
it was.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I'm looking out mine. There's they got some nice woods. Um,
Ew.
what?
Ew. I can't talk about what's going on outside.
Oh, okay. Then don't. Okay.
No, I
Yeah.
can a little bit, but
No, we'll save it for then. We'll save it for then.
see if we
Um,
get through. Yeah.
yeah. So I just don't think that highly of him, and like even like Mac Jones, AJ McCarron, Tua. Like, there's a lot of guys that Bryce Young, a lot of guys that came out of Alabama that are just not that productive in the NFL because they're throwing to five stars all season, and their toughest matchups are really against like Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Like, they don't have a ton of like the SEC is a very good conference, but it's very top heavy. When you start looking down at even like Mizzou this year, they had like a hot start. Auburn, like they had went 6-6. Like they're not bad teams, but they're very top heavy with Georgia, Bama. A&M had a good season. So and when you're throwing to five stars and you're not playing against like five-star talent on the other side of the ball, I really don't think picking him at 13 was that smart. I think he would have been here on day two, and the Rams could have traded up. And the Rams don't have a lot of holes,
Yeah.
but also, what does that say about Stafford? He's coming off an MVP season. I know he's probably got another year in him, but it's not fair for you to do to your franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like coming off an MVP season, I know you're trying to prepare for the future, but what if he doesn't show any decline this year? What if he is still at that MVP caliber level, like a consensus top five quarterback this year?
And he's
Like
not a
that?
Jordan Love type of prospect, that's for sure.
No, no. And Jordan Love was picked at 25,
Exactly.
not
And that
13.
pick was hated on. That pick
And
was really
that
hated.
pick, yeah, and that
I
pick
think
was
it might
hated
have
on
been hated
because
on this picks.
Aaron Rodgers was coming off MVP
This
too, and
pick
then he
is
ended up
this pick
sitting
makes me
two or
want to
three
throw
years.
up just compared to that pick, even at the
Yeah.
time.
So you're paying a guy for 2 to 3 years that's not going to touch the field,
Yeah.
and Stafford might never show decline. The arm talent's still there, and he doesn't need
Yeah.
mobility in his
He
game. It's
doesn't
not like
move.
I could see him playing until he's 40.
He can. He totally could. If you win an
Yeah,
MVP at 38, you can.
yeah,
I the pick is a D minus, trending to F for me.
yeah,
I'm not even going to talk about Simpson yet. I'm going to talk about the actual pick. If you are all in where every sign has pointed to, every single sign has pointed to you being all in, besides your aging quarterback, everything, this is the season, and you draft a developmental piece at quarterback, and not even a developmental piece with the tools, with like high upside tools. He's not an Anthony Richardson. He's not a Taylor Green. He doesn't have those elite tools. He's a pretty solid starter in 13 starts where he claimed that he was hurt for the playoff. I mean, hurt at the end of the season, but he wasn't. And I don't like Simpson. I would not have taken Simpson before round three. I don't like Simpson at all. And besides that, okay, I'm not whatever.
yeah.
I've seen Carson Beck going.
Round three was aggressive.
I've seen Carson Beck going in the second round. I've seen him
Yeah,
early today, which I don't know what's going to happen. I've seen him going 34 to the Cardinals, which I hope not. I mean, that would be funky, but I don't like him better than Gardner Minshew. But besides that, you said you were all in, and you draft a guy at 13 who has barely any starts in college. Yeah, he's younger, which I guess I appreciate, but he doesn't have any of those high upside tools. there's nothing about his game that absolutely stands out to me. Yes, he's a pretty decent pure thrower of the football. I like his motions, but I would not have picked him at 13, and especially the year before an extremely strong quarterback class, you reach on Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
Ty Simpson. You
yeah,
reach on Ty Simpson at 13 when you could have taken. I mean, hell, Devontae Adams is getting older. Take Makai Lemon. Take Sadiq, like I talked about.
yeah.
Take
Take another
Bain.
weapon.
Take another end. Take a
Take
pass
another weapon
rusher.
for
Like I
Stafford.
don't get it.
Yeah, and like someone opposite of Verse would have been nice.
Mesidor. Hell, take
It,
Ione. He's still here. Take a
yeah,
guard.
yeah. So
Anyone would have been better. You know what? Anyone that was picked in the first round, just
what?
about besides a few guys, would have been better. This pick
Yeah,
gets an F from me. Now that I talk about it, it's a straight
there's
F.
there's
There's
yeah,
a chance it pans out, but it's an F. Like it is
yeah.
an F.
So we're gonna move into that Ione pick for the Ravens, and I give this an A plus.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
I think bolstering up that interior offensive line after Linderbaum left, he is by far and away the most pro-ready, best offensive lineman in this draft.
With
There
an
are
A
things,
with the Giants. Yep.
yeah. And just sitting here and letting him fall. Like a lot of teams did do this. They didn't trade into picks, and they just let him fall. The only pick that I really liked that they traded into was Caleb Downs. Um, but this is an A plus. He will fill that Linderbaum role and possibly even more. Giving Derrick Henry more to run behind, even though he doesn't really need it. Giving Lamar more protection, even though he doesn't really need it. It's just building up that championship roster, and that's what you have to do as the Ravens because you only have such a big window with two high rushing value or rushing volume guys. Because
Yeah.
there's only so many, and Lamar does a good job protecting himself, but there's only so many years left on Derrick Henry and Lamar on full mobility. And Lamar got hurt throughout the season. And you could see when he came back, he was not
He needed
100%.
protection.
And taking that mobility away from him really does hinder his game because he is a good thrower of the football, but he's not up there with like a Josh Allen. I put him more on the same level as like I don't want to comp him right now, but like he's not on that like level with like Mahomes, Josh Allen, like guys that and Burrow that
At
he's
times
grouped
he
in.
can be,
Yeah,
but he also
but at
needs the
times he does.
support.
Yeah,
He doesn't need to be running like a chicken with his head cut off. If he can
no,
sit back
no,
there, you saw the 40, what was it, 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
yeah,
Ew.
yeah, but
Ew.
I think
Gross. He didn't
I
even
think
win
a big
MVP.
I
Ew.
think a
Nasty.
I think a big thing is like the fear for him rushing makes him such a valuable thrower of the football, and also Derrick Henry as well.
Terrible
Um,
throws.
yeah, so I think this is the second best pick in the draft. I really like it, and the Ravens needed it. Filled the position they really needed, and they took the one of the best players in this draft.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same grade for me. Probably, I think he could have went earlier, so it's an A. It's an A plus. I like the value. This felt
Yeah,
like an obvious pick going into this week, talking about fits for him.
yeah,
You could have went Lemon here. I think that would have been interesting for another target opposite of Flowers, but I don't think it's the end all be all, especially because Lamar doesn't love to pepper his wide receivers. I think you could have even went Sadiq here, just with their departure of Likely. I think that would have been interesting. But I love bolstering up the interior, like you said, with the departure of Linderbaum. He is a rock solid starter from day one. I am not worried about him. I am. This is not a guy that I think has a bust potential. I don't really see it, unless injuries get him. Like purely just being, he's played high, high competition as a starter all his years. He's a guy. I mean, it's Big Ten football. Those are all legit. He's going against D-tacks and ends and edges that a lot of them are in the NFL right now. He was going up against guys that are studs at practice every day. I love the Penn State tree to the NFL. I really do. Especially at the lineman position, he was just a beast. I love it. It's an A plus. I think this was an obvious pick, and there's
yeah.
other ways they could have went. Obviously, they could have reached on a defensive guy. They could have taken
Uh,
the guy who went number 15, but they drafted end last year. In all honesty, I love the pick. It was perfect.
yeah. So we're gonna be talking about the Bucks pick with Ruben Bain. Um, I love this. I actually really do like this pick, especially leading into the draft. We did think he was going to slide a bit, but I did not think he was going to slide to 15.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard. I thought he was
Hmm.
good as gone, so I'm going to give this A minus, just because of like some of the concerns, like off the field issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the Bucks are getting a difference maker that was a top 8 guy.
Hmm.
There's projections of him going 3 or 4 ahead of Bailey and Reese.
Yep.
Yeah, there was projections there for that
Oh, for sure. I've seen
at
plenty of
one
him
point.
going two
And
and three.
just to get him at 15, when I thought they were going to be taking, I thought they were going to be taking Kendrick Falk
Hmm.
at 15 at one point, and
Yeah.
to get a guy like Bane versus Falk is
Love it.
really awesome. Like I can't complain about this pick. He's staying in Florida.
It's a perfect fit. He's like a glove. Not
Yeah,
that he's not just an exterior edge, but he can be lined up anywhere on the front.
yeah,
You want to line him up against the center, he's that strong and much of a
yeah,
difference maker. I love this pick.
hmm
It's a flat A for me,
yeah.
especially for the
I know.
value to get Bane to fall all the way to 15.
Yeah,
I think I had Mesidor going here in the mock, and I like Bane maybe a pinch more than Mesidor. It's actually pretty close now that they've kind of drifted closer and closer, and people argue that Bane was the reason that Mesidor was so effective, but it can go really either way depending on the Miami scheme. Go Canes. But I'm not a Miami fan. Giants drafted a Miami guy, last guy since Eric Flowers, so let's hope. But I really do love the fit. I love his versatility on the front. I think he fits any hole that they need, and I love his fit next to Vita Vea. What a just a fun run stopping mishmash. I love it. I
yeah.
love it.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the Jets pick with Sadiq. I'm gonna give this a C minus.
Yep.
I think it's a horrible pick for the Jets. And I love Sadiq. We talked about him going 13th, and I would have put him at like a B plus, A minus range if he went there. But just the fit for the Jets. What are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing? Lemons on the board. Offensive line's decent right now. Like, you do not need another tight end with Mason Taylor. He's produced for you. He's been one of your better offensive weapons. Like, and you don't. There's nothing you could do with that. Like he is a great player and he can be a really good slot option. But for you to take a guy that's not going to help you win now, not even win now, it's not like, and he's not really a project. He's a great tight end, but like Mason, you basically drafted a better version of Mason Taylor.
Yeah.
I don't
That's actually
understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Their tape
really
is
don't
on that.
understand where you're coming from with that. Like that makes no sense to me. And even replacing Quentin Williams with love it. Even
Mendoza
uh,
linked it, I swear.
replacing Quentin Williams with Caleb Banks, even
Hmm.
great pick. Even Thiemann here, I would have been more happy with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't have the best available pulled up, so I'm gonna look. But even Jermon McCoy, that would
He's
have been
still
a great
available,
pick.
but yeah, you could have went McCoy here. You could have went Mesidor here. You could have went
Yeah,
Caden McDonald here. You could have went your choice of the lineman. For me, I'm a little bit higher on the pick than a C. I'd probably put it at a B minus, just
yeah,
because you got enough. The Jets love their multiple tight ends on the field at a time. They love those sets. I feel like Frank Reich's going to run a
yeah.
lot of
But
that.
but then wait and get
Double
Max.
tights, you know.
But,
But
but then wait and get Max Clare. Get Max
I
Clare.
agree,
That's
I
a
agree
better
with you.
inline
This was not the pick
blocking tight end.
there, but I think Sadiq's such a good prospect that I can't put him in the C's, especially when you didn't have to reach on him. But you drafted Mason Taylor last year. He produced as a rookie. That was a solid thing. You pay Ruckert. So you pay Ruckert another 2 years. You have two really solid tight ends. I don't get this pick unless you are going to have Mason Taylor and Sadiq all times and to have two tight end sets out there, because I guess but that just ugh, what a what a Jets offense.
Yeah,
Like
and then all you have
take
is Garrett Wilson on the outside. Like it's like
take
you
Makai
need.
Lemon here. That was the pick was Makai Lemon.
Yeah, Mekhi
You
Lemon
could
made the
get
most sense here.
a legitimate target. And, Sadiq is also a legitimate target. And I really like his receiving upside. I find that him and a wide receiver are not that different. Like
No,
he's not that different from Tyson. Like they're not that different of prospects. So I do like the pick because of how much of a receiver he can be for that offense. That he's going to be their number two target next year. He has to be. I don't know who else would
Yeah,
be.
if he's not their number two target, that was a waste of a pick.
That's funny. So at least it gets a B minus. I think there's other guys that could have went there, but I do think as a prospect alone, he is a very strong one, and he should make an impact. I think this is a nightmare scenario for his fantasy outlook, and he's probably not a guy that can be on
Yeah,
rosters next
because
season.
like we don't even know who's throwing on the ball this year.
It's Gino, but I was
Still,
very I was really excited for him to go to the Rams because I thought he would be a bona
yeah,
fide tight end one on my roster.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted him so
He
bad
would
in
have he would
fantasy.
have been drafted like third tight end off the board, probably behind.
He could have been like a fourth, fifth guy. Like it would have been crazy.
No, I think he could have been the third in fantasy. I think he could have been the third tight
It
end
would
off
be
the
Well,
board if
no, it
he
would be
went to the
probably
Rams.
It would be McBride,
Bowers.
Bowers.
I would probably.
I've seen Loveland at three. I've seen Warren at three.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen.
think he's in that pile. I think he's if he were on the Rams, I think he's in that pile.
Then again, this is the year of Mark Andrews. He is back because they have nobody else. So it is Mark Andrews is officially back. Let's go. I don't know how to feel about that one, but
Yeah, so we'll move on.
yeah,
Lions with Blake Miller from Clemson.
got the
Yeah,
Clemson. Got the points.
don't love this pick. I
It's a
think that
reach.
I thought there was two offensive tackles better. It is a positional need, so I'm gonna give it a B minus on here just because I felt like there was two guys better on the board, but I'll give it a B actually. Because it really depends on where they need, what they need from their guys and what they're looking for. And they needed offensive tackle help. That was their biggest hole with the two departures. And I like Blake Miller. I watched him play. He has a ton of experience under his belt. And yeah, I would have probably went Lamu or Ianaker and
Yeah.
Nakor. Yeah, I would have went either of those guys above him here. The Lions, I would have liked to see him go Thiamin too, or Caleb Banks. I could have seen either of those guys go here. And yeah, I'll let you take it away. So yeah, I'm giving it a B minus.
Yeah, I'd probably match you on the B. It was a position of need. He's going to line up opposite of Sewell. This was a reach. It was. Me and you both did not have first round grades on him. I think I had. Did I have him going 30 in our mock to the
Yeah,
Patriots?
it might have been
31.
30
I
or
think it was 31.
31 to the
Yeah.
Pats maybe, or you had someone else.
But that even felt. I think in my first mock we did, I had him, and then I might have switched it up. But that's kind of where I had his. He was a fringe back of the first, early second type of guy. He felt like a guy that would go in the 30s. And that's no disrespect to him. He's a quality player. He started all 4 years. He's been starting since he was a freshman at Clemson. He has a ridiculous amount of starts under his belt. He's in the 40s, which is very impressive for a tackle here. However, you know what? I'm not even going to say however, because they must have liked him better than those two guys. The Lions have a respectable draft history. I'm not going to sit here and criticize Dan because I think this was his pick. There must be something about Miller that they loved compared to those two guys, and he fills a need. So I do like it. However, I also agree with you where there was guys on the board that could have went here to pick Thieneman, to pick Banks, to pick McDonald, to pick. You could really go anyone here,
Yeah,
and
I think going defense here would have made sense for the
I think it's more of a defense
Lions
pick. I
expect.
didn't.
I could have seen him going Proctor here if he was still on the board, but I did not expect him
Yeah, I think
to
we
take it.
had Proctor in our mock. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I didn't think Proctor would go that early, but this is what happens with linemen in the draft. This is always what happens, that there's always a rush for tackles, and then they go, and then instead of being in the tier two right here, now we're in the tier three of tackles. This is where the tier three starts. I mean, we'll talk about
we had 7 tackles taken in the first round.
seven tackles, especially with the trade rush that happened a little bit later. We had
Yeah,
8 trades in the first round. That's ridiculous. That's crazy.
yeah, and if you count guards too, that's 9 offensive linemen
Yeah.
in the first round. That's a little bit over 25% of the picks
We
went.
did
So
not have 9 linemen with first round grades, that's for sure.
yeah, that's
But this is what normally happens. But with
yeah,
that said, I still like the pick. It gets a flat B. But
yeah.
now we're going to talk about
The
Pick
Vikings
number
pick with
18, Minnesota
Caleb
Vikings.
Banks. I actually really do like this pick. I really thought they were going to go a different direction, but you're just bolstering that defense and giving your team a chance to win. Like we said, the Vikings did have a down year, and that was 9-8.
Yeah. 9 and
And
8.
a lot of those wins did come at the end of the season. Like I think they were like,
Still.
yeah, but they were building momentum off of that, and without McCarthy in there, and you got K1 throwing.
They were a playoff
Well,
team last
I
year.
really like going defense
That's
here
what I
because
was thinking.
you got two bona fide receivers that are consensus very like one of them's a consensus top two guy. The
And
other one is
Addison's super underrated, man. So
yeah,
underrated.
and he might be a top five wide receiver too in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
definitely get behind that, actually.
yeah. No, I know I'm
He's
trying to
right
like
there
go
with
through my
Cooper
brain
Rush.
and see what I'm missing, but aside from like Tay Adams, like I really can't
He's
think of
right there.
anything.
He's right there. I agree. Because
Yeah,
who's the other best twos? It's
Higgins,
Sutton, it's
Pickens,
Adams, it's Pickens, it's, I guess, Jordan Tyson would qualify now. And
not yet. Just
not
from
yet.
what we've seen in the past, that's more what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
okay. Fair. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess you can't count Wandale right now.
yeah.
Maybe
I'm talking about more from last season, but yeah,
last season. Yeah, I'm
I
still
put,
wrapping my brain. I'm like,
yeah,
I guess Rashid Shaheed was decent, but
yeah, but he was more like a gadget guy. I don't know.
exactly.
And also they had a down year. If Addison and Jefferson can both go over 1,000 yards any given season,
Tyson's legit. Yes, he just is.
so I think going defense here and getting a guy that really stuffs the interior makes a lot of sense for this pick. I'm gonna give it a minus
Yeah.
because I did like McDonald a bit more, but really flip a coin, see which guy you like more.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trending down the same path. I'd put a B plus on this pick, and it's not because of my dislike of the pick. I really do like the pick. That they're in a win now position, as we've talked about. They were a 9 and 8 team, missing a quarterback, which means they were more of an 11 win team, a 12 win team. They should have been in the playoffs last year.
I think they had a top 16 quarterback. I think they're going 13 and four.
They're such a quality roster, and that means that this season is big because Kyler Murray, despite all the negative stuff that's been thrown around about him, how he's a double XP weekend merchant, or he loses, he gets a lot worse then. But if you're a win now team, I really like this to stuff the middle. I think it's a utility pick here. It's nothing flashy, and yeah, there's other guys you could have went here. I probably would have picked somebody in the secondary instead of at the front line. Their front line was very strong last year, but this is not a hurtful pick. This will only supplement what they have going on, and be alert for the Minnesota Vikings. They are candidates to win the NFC North next year.
Yeah, it's a tough division too, so it'd be pretty.
Very tough division. Oh my
It might be the toughest.
It's right there. It's right there with the NFC West.
I think it's ahead just because the Cardinals are so bad. There's not a bad team.
There's like top. I have five. I have three top five teams in the NFC West, so I have the NFC West. But
Yeah, it really depends on where you rank all the
yeah,
teams.
it's they
Especially,
have. I
and
mean, they have a
we
team
got to see
that's
how the Seahawks recover after losing a ton of guys and the offensive coordinator.
dude. They might have four teams in the playoffs next year. Like seriously, I
Yeah, the
don't see a
NFC
single
North,
team.
I could see them having four teams in the playoffs.
Who is their odd man out? I'd say the Lions are probably the odd man out.
Lions right now, maybe Packers.
Maybe
I'm very high on the Packers,
I
but
just don't see the Packers falling off a cliff.
I think it takes one injury to a really important player to really
100%. But
like.
Micah should be back. Micah should be back. That's a
Yeah, but
huge.
I'm talking about more like Caleb Williams. Say he has an injury this year.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
like
like,
the Bears are a dumpster fire at that point.
I
Um,
I don't know who is their number two. Do they have? Is it still
Badgett,
the little white dude?
yeah,
Uh,
Jalen Badgett or
yeah, Badgett.
yeah, something like that. I don't
He's
know.
not that good, but I like him.
Yeah, Packers pick here with Monroe Freeling.
Monroe Freeman.
Again, very high upside guy. If he can produce, he will produce. He could possibly be offensive tackle, and they're taking him for upside here. It's a very good positional need, and I assumed that. Yeah, honestly, he was probably my. I would have put him at my fourth guy.
Yeah, I think he's my four.
I think there's a grouping of the first three guys that are kind of interchangeable, and then the next three,
He's in that
the next
tier
three,
two.
four. There's a grouping, but I definitely have him ahead of Blake Miller. So honestly, getting him here, I gotta give it like a B plus, A minus. He's a little bit more raw, and he hasn't played many games, but being a bona fide starter and a stud at Georgia is so much more than being a 4 year starter at a ACC school.
Yeah,
Like
especially when you
honestly,
look at
I have a higher grade on Monroe Freeling than Blake Miller just because I
yeah.
think
They're
what he
they're
won
interesting
against.
prospects to compare because on the one hand, Freeling has a season full of starting, but that's
Yeah,
it. He has 13 games, but he was very legit. Miller has every single game of his college career. So
yeah,
you can view the two prospects on a they're very comparable because of
but
how different
I
they
think
are.
Freeling has a higher ceiling.
Freeling's the pick. I
Yeah,
like him better than
I
Miller.
really like it here.
I don't think Miller busts inherently, but is
I
he
think
anything
I,
more?
I
Maybe
think
not.
maybe he's like a 5, 10 year guy. We've just seen so much of him play that, and it really hasn't been as impressive as some of the guys who have
I
had
agree.
less experience under their
He
belts.
could be a solid guy for a team, but I like the Freeling pick here. I
Yeah,
This pick would probably get an A minus from me.
yeah,
This is about where his value sits. I don't think they overdrafted him, but it definitely wasn't a steal.
yeah.
Maybe with who was available, you could view it as that. But I like the pick here. I think it supplements a team, like we were saying, that is going to be in the playoff race next year. They could always use help on the offensive line. I like the pick. And I think we're going to hop into the number 20
20th
pick
pick,
here.
the Eagles trade up to get Makai Lemon, and with AJ, if you are departing from AJ Brown, that whole experience and he's is good as gone. He should have been moved for a pick. I wholeheartedly believe that he should have been moved for a first round pick this year. But if you're going to get a first next year for him, and you're able to get someone where Devonta Smith's allowed to be that deep vertical threat, and Makai Lemon is very similar to Devonta Smith in some regards, but if he's allowed to be that flyer deep vertical threat, where Lemon's more like that possession guy that's going to get 10 targets a game, have 8, and make yards after the catch, I really like that setup because like Devonta Smith can play outside very well. Um, so I'm gonna give this pick and like to trade up and get a guy that we really thought was gonna be gone by 11. I gotta give it an A minus.
Yeah.
A
I
maybe.
I like it. It's an A for me, straight up. It's even trending A plus just because of the value. A guy
Yeah.
that was number one on a lot of
A.
boards to fall to 20, and to now put the AJ Brown saga to bed.
Yeah.
AJ Brown is like Paulie
Good
from
as gone.
Goodfellas. He's walking into the room. He's
Good as
about to get
gone.
whacked. You better keep his eyes open because it's over. He is going to
Yeah.
leave, and he's probably not. I don't think he's worth the first. Maybe he's worth the second. Maybe to the. I don't know. The Pats
I
maybe
think
worth
the
it.
Pats. I think they're setting up the trade. It said sometime in June that he will be traded to the
Just
Pats.
what is that for contract wise? Guaranteed money.
Yeah,
What fun
yeah.
stuff.
It's some weird contract scenario.
Fair. So I really like the pick. As I talked about, my comp to Mackay was Devonta Smith. I love them together. I think why have one when you can have two that, as you said, you can do whatever you want with these guys. You want one to be more of an over the top and one to be underneath and let them flip and have fun with this offense. I love the pick. I do. Value aside, this was a great pick, especially you have to say goodbye to AJ Brown, who has developed into somewhat of a cancer in this offense, just
Yeah,
because of he's not inherently a cancer. He's not a horrible locker room guy, but the amount of attention that he takes up, it's a little distracting. It is. It's distracting how he complains every week. You don't see Devonta Smith complaining. Why? Because he puts his head down and he works. He's awesome. And I'm hoping he can take that and give it to Makai
yeah,
Lemon. And if this pick really works out, man, imagine that. Imagine these two guys opposite of one another. Pick your poison because it's rough. Good luck covering them because you got the other to worry about. I
yeah,
love it. It's an A, bordering A plus.
yeah,
As you can tell, while I'm a Giants fan, I'm not biased, and I can see something for what it is. What a fantastic pick! What a fantastic pick for the value.
yeah.
A, yeah, A.
I'm leaning A.
Yeah,
Um, I just it was good to get rid of the AJ Brown situation, but you do have a glaring needed edge, and there's guys on the board you
there
could have
is.
taken
It's gonna be
here.
Mesidor.
Yeah, and like for Mesiter to even fall to the Chargers later. Sorry, I'm getting my head ahead of myself. Anyways, I think it's a great pick. I'm giving it an A. You give it a
If you can
A
flip
plus.
AJ Brown for a first or a second, I love this because
Yeah,
essentially, if you can flip AJ for Makai Lemon, that's a
and get a
win, win,
first for
win.
next round, next
That's my
year,
if it's a first
100%.
for next year, I
If
love
it's a
that.
second for
Especially if
next
it
year,
takes
I'm going to keep it at an A. If it's a first for next year, then I'm going to give it a A
it would be
plus.
an A plus for me if they get a first round next year,
No, if they
100%.
get an A plus, 100% it's A plus. I mean, if they get
Because
a
just
first rounder next year, A
yes,
plus. If they get a second rounder and like some bullshit.
because imagine that return. I mean, that's a fantastic flip. Seriously,
Yeah, I
that's
think
like
they
going
should.
from
What?
what is it? Oh, I was thinking about I don't know. I think my head went to the Jalen Rieger pick, where they picked Jalen Rieger, and then the Vikings had Justin Jefferson just fall into their arms, and it was beautiful because it replaced Diggs, and it was just such a beautiful thing to replace him. But that's kind of a separate thing. But I almost put that in my head where it's you just get a guy to fall, even though they had to trade up for him, but have a guy
Yeah,
fall into your hands that can replace your number one. That's fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
But yeah,
And then you know with the Steelers pick with Max and Ian Nakor, we're gonna say. Again, he's in that second grouping with um, Freeling. I guess I feel like I had some Freeling, Lamu, and himself.
I'm
And
going with Ianekor.
Ionacor.
Ianekor.
I'm going
Ianekor.
Ionacor. We're gonna go with that.
Ianekor. We're going with that.
Ionacor. I just can't look at his name when I'm trying to say it because then I
Yeah.
like word jargon.
You got to separate
Um,
them. You got to separate them.
Ionacor. Anyways, I love this pick here. I think he's in that second grouping. I think it's very similar to that Freeling pick where he has a higher ceiling than a Blake Miller. And he was a stud at Arizona. We just didn't get to see as much tape out of him as we did for Miller, and like we have a better idea of what his floor is going to be. Um, but like this guy can bust. It could be like a Broderick Robinson situation, I believe is the right name for the Steelers, where he's kind of out of the league in 3 4 years after being a first round pick. But also at the same time, he also does have that upside to be a 10 to 15 year bona fide cornerstone for the Steelers left right tackle position. And I'm not going to harp too much on offensive tackles from here on out, just because pretty much repetitive. Like a lot of these guys are the same in my head. So I'm going to give it an A minus, B plus.
Yeah, this gets a solid B for me. I think it was a slight overdraft, but like we've talked about, because of the value and the tackles that were flying, if you need a pick here, if you need a tackle to pick here, he's as good of a guy as any of those available. So I don't hate it for that. I think you could have went defense here, and there was better guys available in defense. However,
Noah Khan dropped his album today. Sorry, I completely forgot. Courtney just
uh,
texted me.
Noah Khan released last night. I listened to it. It was really good actually. But I like the pick here. I think Max is a good player. He needs refinement, that's for sure. But he
Yeah,
does have the athleticism. He is a high upside guy, which I appreciate here. At the back of the first, you get him in there, and you know what? If you're gonna make a pick here for the Steelers, he's as good of a pick as any. So I'll give it a solid B.
yeah. All right. So the next pick is going to be the Chargers at 22 with Akeem Mesidor. Love this pick. I'm gonna give it an A. Um, just because I like him a lot. He's able to line up all over the field and being able to learn under Khalil Mack is very, you know,
I agree.
it's worth its weight in gold.
A
He
mentor is so underrated.
Yeah, I think he's very underrated. I think he was as much of not as much of a factor, but I think he was a little bit discredited because of playing opposite of Bane most of the season. But a great run stuffer, can play across the front very, very well. And the Chargers did need defensive line help very bad, especially with the age and Khalil Mack. So I think this is a great fit. I'm giving it an A just because some people were a little lower on him. But I think it's a great pick. I have like three A pluses in this draft, and I'm saving one more for one pick. And yeah, I think this is a great pick here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would get an A as well for me. Maybe an A minus, but I think an A, depending on the value of the pick that Mesidor was only a pinch behind Bane for me, and I really do think it was more of a coin toss, if anything, of who you think is going to be a better guy in the NFL. Mesidor's legit. He has the production. He put up numbers. I mean, in the championship game, he had 2 sacks. It's really impressive. He can show up when the team needs him. And he can play opposite of a guy. You know who's better than Ruben Bain? Khalil Mack. I love it. I love him as a mentor for him. I think a mentor is extremely underrated. At the 22 pick, to get a tier, he's a tier 2 edge rusher in this draft, but or a tier 2 D lineman. He's not as much of a pure edge rusher, but to get a tier 2 D end, I guess he's more of just a D end, but to get a tier 2 D end at 22, when you get into the next tier, number 23, we start talking about tier 3. To get this capable of a guy, it's an A, and he's going to have a mentor to develop him, and he will be a day one starter for the Chargers in a position of need, and he will be their long-term successor at their number 1 edge. So I love the pick. It's an A.
Yeah, no, great pick. So we'll move into the Cowboys pick with Malachi Lawrence.
Malachi Lawrence.
I don't know how to feel about this pick. He has a great ceiling. I just saw he had 7 sacks at UCF, Big 12 football now. Um, and he did go up against a bunch of these guys that we've already listed at tackle, and he's a very, very good edge rusher. But there's still guys on the board that were well above him at edge. TJ Parker, Cassius Howell, even Caden McDonald. I know he's not at edge, but
I mean,
still.
Zion Young right there. That's
Yeah, Zion Young would have been a great pick. R. Mason Thomas. Like, there's a ton of edge rushers here, and I don't think you needed to use this pick on an edge. I think you just take the best guy on the board here with that Cowboys pick, especially. But I do think they did a great job trading back to get the guy they wanted and getting more value out of that Eagles after having to trade up with the Dolphins. So getting some of those picks back later in the draft for the Eagles to jump 2 teams that honestly the Steelers would have won Lemon. There's no doubt in my mind. So to
yeah.
be able for them to jump the Steelers and get them, just based on how they approach this pick, not that I love this pick, I'm giving it an A minus because the ceiling could be there.
Yeah.
And it does help their defense having another guy getting after the quarterback aside from Rashad Gary and Quinn Williams. This is a much different defense than what we've seen out of the Cowboys for the past
Yeah.
3 seasons, probably. And I'm actually really excited to watch the Cowboys play football this year. I am because that offense is still productive. They franchise tag
They
George
look good,
Pickens
man. He signed a
yesterday.
tag.
They
I don't think
look
he needed to.
really
He could have
damn
signed a
good.
big deal, and I hope they pay him. But
They look really damn good, the Cowboys this year.
I
And
agree.
it's
And this was a Cowboys pick, man. Malachi
yeah,
Lawrence is a Cowboys type of late first round guy.
yeah,
That super super high potential, probably the highest potential out of all these guys. But hell, he's
yeah,
had the production in 4 straight years. He's had 7 or more sacks. That's very
yeah,
impressive, especially at the Big 12 level.
yeah,
He's good. He has the ability to become a rotational, but not even rotational, but real starting end on that team. He's got the pop to be a really productive edge rusher. They have the same last name, but his tape actually really reminds me of Demarcus Lawrence, which is funny.
yeah,
So I do think it would be interesting to bring back a sort of Demarcus Lawrence player, and Demarcus Lawrence is still a stud on the Seahawks, but to get a real impact edge he impacts every play. He's not just a pass rusher; he's also a pretty good run stopper for what he is. I like the pick. It's a B plus, A minus.
yeah. Yeah, I'm going B plus. I'll give it an A minus just because of the potential and just being able to trade back and get this guy. And a
Yeah,
lot of people did
of
have him
course.
going earlier than me and you did. But
Mhm.
so the next pick, Browns, they got Casey Concepcion. I love this guy. I've seen him play a lot of ball over his career and from NC State to A&M. And NC State is more of a gadget guy going to A&M. He really refined what he needed to do as a receiver to be a first round pick. And since the Browns went Fanu at 9, makes a lot of sense to go KC. And they do not need much defensive help on the back end They like in across the board, their defense was not the problem. Their defense was one of the better defenses in the league last year. But the offense was horrendous. There was no weapons, and you're throwing in a rookie quarterback with your best weapon being Harold Fannin, who no discredit to Harold Fannin, but when it's your rookie tight end and your rookie quarterback leading your offense, that's a very scary sign.
It's
So to
rough.
get
Joker's not back.
so to
Judy's so
get
streaky.
what
It's
I
just
would say is the fourth best receiver in this draft, in my opinion,
yeah.
get him at 24, especially with the other two guys going really early. Even though Lemon fell, still, I think it's a really good pick, and I would give it a probably a A minus. Again,
That's fair.
I really do like this pick. I like Casey a lot more than a lot of people, and I thought he was going to go to the Steelers at 21, but
Yeah, I think you probably, if you're the Browns and you were taking a wide receiver here no matter what, because that's kind of what it felt like. Even if Casey went, I thought you probably should have went up and made the smash to 20 and got in Lemon, but teach his own. I do like the pick. Like you said, you don't have Njoku back. You have Harold Fannin, you have Judy, you have Cedric Tillman. It's pretty barren, and they drafted a lineman. They drafted Fano at 9, so they were in a spot to take a target for Shadur. If you're going to build around this quarterback or whoever is back there, if it's not Shadur, you need targets, you need weapons, and Casey's as good of a weapon as any available here. I just like you said, he was my 4 as well. I would take him over Branch. I would take him over Bell, over any of those guys. So I do think Chris Bell would have been interesting here, but that's early. But I really do like the pick. It probably grades out at a B plus for me, maybe an A minus, just because the Browns have so many holes that I almost can't endorse drafting another weapon
I really don't
because
think
there
that.
is. They're still not going to be
I
good.
really don't think they have that many holes.
I don't know, man. Let's see what happens this
Like the
season.
defensive side of the ball is great. The offensive side of the ball is a other.
I think Miles Garrett serves as a band aid, but
Yeah, but
they're
even like Schlesinger and
yeah.
Mason Graham,
Graham should develop. I agree. Their
yeah,
linebacking core is good. I'm not hating on the Browns. I
yeah.
just
I
I
think
don't know.
they're at least making steps in the right direction to fix up that offense. Especially, they do think Shador is going to be their guy.
I've heard they think Watson's going to be their guy this year, which is funny.
We're gonna have a fun year for the Browns.
Oh boy.
Um,
All right. We
yeah,
got
so
3 minutes left on the clock, so
yeah, this is my favorite pick in the draft. Um, Second favorite pick. I am very high on safeties, so Dylan Thiemann being the second best safety on the board, going at 25, A plus. I love Dylan Thiemann. He was the best available for some time. I believe like by pick 16 or something,
yeah.
he was the
He was
best
the he
available
was
on
the
the board.
best on my board from 16 on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I really thought he was going to go
I know
Lions.
technically Lemon would grade out a pinch above him, so I guess 20.
You,
But
it depends.
we're fighting over tooth and nail. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I'm huge on Dylan Thiemann. Thought he was going to the Vikings. After not going to the Vikings, thought he was going to the Panthers. Thought he was going to the Eagles. Thought he was going to the Steelers maybe. But
Yeah.
to get a guy that could quarterback your defense at pick 25 for the Bears after losing Kevin Byard, that is undeniable one of the best picks in the draft. I think he should have went at 17 or 18, and
He
to get
shouldn't
him
have
at
passed over
25
20. 21 maybe, but
to
not
get
sure.
him at 25 for the Bears that are a young up and coming defense that needs a leader after losing Edmonds. They did get Devin Bush and um they got Kobe Bryant, right?
Yes.
He's more of a corner, but and to be able to replace an aging Kevin Byard on a rookie deal, wow. I am very impressed with what the Bears have done. Absolute turnaround. Because the Bears were one of those teams that were picking in the top 10 every single year.
Yep.
We were like ever since '06, we were like consistently saying the Bear like, and if even if they did made the playoffs, we knew they were a first round loss. But
Yep.
Caleb brings them life.
Shout out
Caleb,
Jay Cutler and Matt Forte. But
yeah. Shout out Mitch Trubinsky,
shout
double
out Mr. Binsky, number
Cody Parkey, right?
number
That
two,
was,
number two pick.
yep.
But yeah, I I agree. This is an A plus for me. It's a smash pick. This is a steal at the value. I was praying the Giants traded up somewhere in the 20s to get this guy because man, this would have been a great guy to get instead of
Yeah.
Downs. Like he's not that far off of Caleb Downs, and that's not disrespectful to Downs. It's more just Dylan is so good. He really is. He can go up to the line and blitz. He can play center field. He can match up against a guy if you need him to play corner for a couple reps. He's great against tight ends. I love this pick. This is only bolstering a very strong Chicago Bears defense. That pick alone might raise them one in my power rankings. Like that's how much of a difference this makes on the defense. This
I,
is like
I
this
I'm
is
I'm
huge.
I'm leaning them to win the NFC North this year.
Yeah, that it is a needle mover, and it's tough to
Yeah.
pick a needle mover at
And
25. But
yeah.
I thought the Panthers should have sat at 19 and drafted him. I thought that's
Yeah.
where he was going. That's when Sadiq went at 16. That was where my head went. I went, oh, the Lions aren't going to take him, and
Yeah.
then it's just going to keep going. But 25, A plus plus. Like
Yeah.
seriously, this might be my favorite pick in the whole draft, just because of the value. Besides the
Yeah.
5 pick, which Arvell Reese gets me out of bed in the morning, but man,
Yeah.
this is a really strong pick at 25.
Yeah, this is with Ione and Downs. This is up there with those are my
Yeah,
top three picks.
I love
So we'll move
Ione,
into
but
the
the value here
Texans
is just
pick.
insane.
We'll move into the Texans
Yep.
pick. It's giving
Really?
me Cole Strange vibes. Like Cole Strange, right? It's
Yeah.
giving me those
Like
vibes. Like
Keelan Rutledge vibes.
yeah,
He wasn't
Caleb
all.
Rutledge.
He was an All American this year. I got to give
Yeah,
him
he
credit.
was, but dude, I really am not a
I
huge
just did
fan.
not have a first round grade on this guy.
I had Pregnone. I would have been
I
happy
had
with
Pregnone
Pregnone.
above him as well. He was
Yeah,
probably my third interior guard, guy that was like a
yeah,
late second rounder.
yeah. Just not a big fan of his. I'm gonna give it
Reach.
probably a C, but I could be wrong. It's giving me very much like that Cole Strange vibe, where the Pats took him way too early.
This is just a guy that the the Texans made a point this offseason to address their offensive line. They made multiple
Yeah,
signings for starting players. I don't get reaching on a guard here. I get that he's a developmental piece for your line and a guard who's drafted in this spot, especially even where he is. The floor is pretty solid. It's not going to
yeah,
fall out on you.
yeah. The floor is very good.
But just think there's other players available. If you wanted to add to that already fantastic defense, you could have drafted a linebacker here.
You could have
They have
won
decent
Caden
linebackers.
McDonald. Caden
You could have went
McDonald
to
is a
McDonald
great
here. That
pick.
would have been great. You could have picked a safety here. You could have went McNeil Warren. You could
No,
have.
their secondary's clamps right now. Like
I'm just
it's a
saying to get
great
another guy.
secondary.
They have no glaring holes. I mean, I guess you could have even drafted a linebacker here and not reached, I guess, but you could have. I like TJ Hill more than I like CJ Allen, and I
Yeah,
like
bigger on-
Rodriguez more than both those guys.
yeah,
Eh, it depends. For the Texans, I'd actually prefer Rodriguez, but
yeah,
like TJ Hill is probably a better inherent player.
yeah,
But I don't hate the pick. It probably still gets a C plus. It's a
yeah.
strong. It's a
I'm giving
solid.
it a C.
That's fair.
It's a very safe pick.
It's
It's
solid.
just solid. All right,
Not my favorite pick in the draft, but not my
We'll move
least
into the
favorite.
Dolphins pick with Chris Johnson out of San Diego State,
Yep.
cornerback. Giving this a D. Two guys on the board, I believe, are much better than him. I had a few guys better than him, but to not take Jermon McCoy, even if you're worried about injury concern, even if you're worried about
Yeah.
all these things, he was the second best corner in the draft, and there was points where he was talked about being interchangeable with Mansour Delane. There was points that people were mentioning that.
People
I'm
still
not saying
make
I agree with it.
people still make those takes. I was seeing a couple days ago people having higher grades on
Yeah,
Jamal McCoy.
yeah,
I have a I have a higher grade, not than Mansour Lane, but they're not that far off. Mansour
yeah,
Lane is the number one cornerback, but I am on my hands and knees praying that he falls to 37.
yeah,
Wow, that would make my day.
yeah. No, and even like Avion Terrell too, and McNeil Warren and Colton Hill.
Solid.
You
I
got a
love
ton of,
Terrell.
and like the Dolphins need so much help across the board. It doesn't matter what you take here, but to pass on guys that are consensus first rounders
Yeah.
across the board, you got to figure something out. You seriously got to maybe you're taking him for the potential, whatever you guys are thinking, just taking raw dudes. Like you took Caden Proctor early, but you can't build your team on potential. You got to build your team with at least some foundational pieces that can give you momentum. You're not going to go from 3 wins next season to 14 wins the following season. It's going to be a progressive, slow rebuild, and you gave yourself a 3-year window to do that. And I think Ron McCoy, even coming off injury, is just
Yeah.
heads above
This
him. And I would give it a C minus.
yeah, the pick is a I don't want to give a too low of a grade because I don't inherently hate Chris Johnson, but he's probably my cornerback 5 in this
Yeah.
draft. And if you are a rebuilding team, it's pretty clear. Everyone could tell. Even if you have injury concerns, why would you not take Jerron McCoy and give him the time to get back? Because he is when healthy, he is a top 10 prospect. That if he never got hurt, he would have been picked top 10 this year. That's for sure. I don't doubt that. Especially with how high Delane was taken because of how much of a difference between Delane and the next cornerback was because of the injury. He would have been a top 10 guy. Or you pick Avion Terrell, who is, what do you have, 8 forced fumbles at Clemson? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. His tape is awesome. He is not afraid of the ball. He will go up and get you, or he will go get that ball. I like Terrell a lot. He's raised a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I might even like Colton Hood more than I like Johnson. I
I
might
do.
like D'Angelo Pons better than I like Johnson.
I don't.
Dan, Pons, okay, his physicals aren't there, but his skill is there. If he was 5'11", yeah, maybe. But all right, neither here nor there. I don't love the pick. It probably gets a C minus in my head. It's not the worst pick you could have taken, but you're the Dolphins. You have holes all over the board. Take an edge. Take a dart throw at edge here. Take the best cornerback available and the best player available.
Yeah.
Why would you pick Chris Johnson out of San Diego? I don't understand
Even
that.
take McNeil Warren.
Hey,
Like, if you want
Manuel
to do
Warren,
second.
that's a great pick there. I would have loved that
Yeah.
pick.
Okay. We
Whatever.
got to get rolling. I know that pick was trash.
Yep. We're
Um,
almost there.
we have 5 picks left. We got
We can do this.
14
Let's just keep
minutes,
it
so
moving.
we'll fly through them. Patriots, Caleb Lamu. I'm going. He's in that second group, and to get him at 28, I'm going to give this an A. You're addressing a big concern and trading up to get this pick. Might not make sense for a lot of teams, but you're one offensive tackle guard away from
Yep.
not a dynasty, but like a consistent
Contender.
franchise,
A
like
consistent contender.
being a consistent contender. Like look at what like the Bills and Ravens are doing. Like you want to be in that bracket with them.
I love this pick. This was the pick.
Yeah,
This was the right guy at the right time. You got good value on Lomu. This is about where he was going. This gets an A flat. This
yeah.
probably gets an A
Because
minus as well.
honestly, a lot of teams had him higher, and to be the seventh tackle off the board and get him at 28
Yeah,
is gross. When
I agree.
he was my fourth tackle.
Lomu was right there. He was in kind of that rotation of guys. I think I might have had him above Freeling, or it
Yeah,
was very close.
no, I had him above
You could have went edge
Freeland.
here. I
I
could
had
have
him
seen
behind.
edge. Same
Yeah,
thing with like there just is the edge
but
value on the board. They
I
don't
think
really need a
I think
corner,
the thing
but
is there wasn't too much edge in this draft. Like in the first round so far, there's not been a crazy amount of edge guys getting taken. So you still have your day 2 pick to either
yep,
trade up and get a TJ Parker, Cassius Howell,
I agree.
Zion Young. Like there's still 4 or 5 guys that could be legit edge rushers.
Yep,
So I really do like this pick. I think it's
I
the
like the
most
pick.
intelligent pick here. And you already seen 7 tackles or 6 tackles go before him. You got to kind of take him here.
Yep, it's an A.
All
All
right.
right, next pick.
Chiefs pick, Peter Woods. I love this guy.
Great pick. Great
Next,
pick, man.
next to Chris Jones, gonna give it an A. To be able to learn from Chris Jones, who people have comped him to, like that is something you could take. And Chris Jones is getting older; he could easily slip into this role in a year or two. Like if Chris Jones is gonna retire soon or retire with Kelsey or whatever, yeah, I think this is a great pick. And even going him with, and he might be one of the best pass rushing D tackle. He's probably the best pass rushing interior defensive lineman in this draft.
Yep.
But to have him with Chris Jones and then you get Mansour Lane, that defense is different. Very similar to what the Cowboys did. Just focusing on defense and just doubling up and getting stronger across the board. On defense, after losing a ton of guys, I think the Chiefs made a great pick here.
I agree. They might have my favorite draft in the whole league, if not for trading up to six, and still
Yeah.
they have a great argument because this pick gets an A for me, borderline A plus. I love how similar he is to Chris Jones. I love the development for him under Chris Jones. Chris Jones hasn't been talked about as the best team player, but he is a guy that goes to work and usually shuts his mouth. And he's okay with being put in his place because that's what leaders do. And I love him as a leader. For Woods,
Yeah.
I think Woods is a real serious prospect. He could have been drafted as early as early 20s.
I
Even
had
I
him
could have seen him late 10s in the right
I had,
spot.
I had him
100%.
like 14 to the Ravens at one
Yeah,
point.
I could have seen it. I could have seen him to the Packers. I could have seen him to the Panthers. I could have, maybe not, maybe the Panthers, but neither here nor there. Maybe the Steelers. But I love the pick. I think the value's great. It only reinforces that defense. It fills a potential hole in the next couple of years, and he slots in immediately. He's going to be getting snaps immediately, and I love the pick. Gets an A.
Okay, we're moving on to the Jets pick with Omar Cooper Jr. A lot of people had him as their number four receiver. Again, it was like those like very similar to the tackles this year. It was those
Yeah.
top three guys, and then another grouping of like three to four guys.
Yeah, he's in the KC, Denzel
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah. I would have liked to see Boston here. So granted, the Jets had three first round picks. I like Boston a little bit better. And to trade in to get him at 30 just felt odd. I feel like they should have just sat at their pick for tomorrow, their second round pick for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Move up three picks.
And I mean, and you went Sadiq earlier, so you're basically just giving you're giving your non-existent quarterback, you're giving Geno Smith, who was supposed to be your franchise guy years ago, a 33-year-old quarterback. You're giving him a ton of weapons to like maybe make a productive season. But honestly, at this point, you go defense. That defense is gutted.
They should have
You're
been a secondary pick. They
yeah,
should have been secondary.
yeah, and
There's guys available.
Jermon McCoy on the board,
Pick your
McNeil
favorite.
Warren,
You could pick any
Anthony
player.
Terrell. It's very similar to the
Favorite.
what we talked about the Dolphins pick. That's why I'm going to give it a C plus. Especially like you could have sat and got Denzel Boston, who I think is a little bit better. It's really up to you. Yeah,
Yeah, this pick gets a B minus because I like Cooper, and I think eventually he will fill into this offense that is not this year. I'm
yeah,
not sure what this looks like for the Jets' offensive outlook.
yeah,
However, yeah, I like the pick. I think that's about where his value sits at for me, and they needed a target opposite of Garrett, so I like it.
yeah. But
However,
like go Sadiq and then this guy, like
no, I agree. I do.
that was weird.
It's a B minus because I
Yeah.
do like the player. However, this should have been a secondary pick. The secondary is so full of prospects at this point. I I get there's better. Not to say there's better, but this is a deeper wide receiver class comparatively to other positions.
Yeah.
So, what would make sense would be to take two guys later on, then trade up for Omar Cooper. Then you don't have a pick, so they don't have a pick today. They don't have the
Right.
33 pick. So I don't really understand it. I like the pick itself because they needed a target, and he's as good of a weapon as any. So I don't want to go any lower than a B minus for that.
Yeah.
However, there was just better guys available, and the draft strategy as well. I just don't agree with. So
Yeah. Okay. So the Titans at 31 taking Kendrick Falk. I really do like this pick, especially I think they screwed up their first rounder with Cardinal Tate. I'm gonna give this probably A minus. I mean, there is a ton of edge in this draft. Could have went multiple directions, but he is more like that Mesidor guy where he's able to line up across the front. He's not really like a pure edge where he's just getting after the quarterback. He's a good run stuffer. And to get a guy opposite of Jeffrey Simmons and the guy they got from the Broncos, that makes that defensive line a lot better. I think A minus is fair here just because I don't think you need to trade back in to get. But if this is the guy you wanted, there was talks about him going 15th to the Bucks. So getting him late here, I think, is a great pick.
yeah, I agree. I'd probably put it at a B plus just because of the trade up, and you didn't need to. And But to separate this pick from their first pick, the fourth pick, where I thought they could have went edge, this is the best edge available at 31.
Yeah.
A guy with pretty much consensus first round grades. And
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't have the most productive season at Auburn, but he does have the potential to be a real difference maker. For a team still in rebuild mode, you need a guy who can be your guy on the front, and he's as good of a pick as any at 31. So it's a B plus. It's only a B plus because of the trade up, where I think you just could have sat and gotten him or a very comparable guy for not giving up anything, and that kind of takes away a few points in my head. But I still love the pick. I still think he's going to be a disruptor in the right system. Maybe not day one, but give him a few years to develop and get some real NFL coaching, and I think you may see a difference. I think Robert Saleh may make a big difference here.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. And
Last
it
pick.
was John Franklin Myers. That's who I couldn't think of.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. And last but not least, the Seahawks
Right.
pick.
Woo.
I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. Think this guy deserves a first round grade at running back if he was on a different team. I think he could have been a starter anywhere. And so I'm gonna give it a B plus because I do really like him, but I think the Seahawks have other concerns that they need to address after losing guys in free agency. And there are a ton of running backs still available. Aside from Love, the rest of the guys are kind of grouped into like this pile of just kind of whoever's
It
feeling
depends who
good.
you like. I think Katron Allen might be my number two.
Okay.
He's
No,
right
no
there
one has
with
Katron
Jermaine
Allen at
Price.
number two right now.
Katron Allen's a dog, man. I
Oh, I
love
love
Katron.
him.
I think he's
I
good.
love watching him play, but like people have like Emmett Johnson, Jonah
Mike
Coleman,
Washington gets a
Mike
lot of love.
Washington. Yeah, there's a
I like
handful of guys.
Washington.
There's a handful of guys that are studs, but
Yeah, he's
no,
probably
Price
going to
is a
be
great
Jones.
player. He does have one of his concerns was his receiving ability, but he kind of proved it wrong on his pro day, and he looked great on his pro day. And
Yeah.
a lot of people had him as the number two running back, and the Seahawks did need running back, but
Hmm.
he's very similar to what Charbonnet does already. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I, I think if you want to go running back, go with someone that's a more pure receiving threat later, but
Hmm.
to each their own. I still think it was a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a solid pick. It gets a B flat in my head
Yeah.
because this is a death to Zach Charbonnet pick. Another, he's essentially this is just K9 again. He's drafted in
Yeah.
the Kenneth Walker role. I like Price because of I I like how he I've almost tried to wrap my head around it, but I actually like that he's played behind Jeremiah Love because the toll is not on his body.
Yeah.
He is still super fresh. I mean, I like the lack of experience here because he can make a difference as an impact player. So I do like the pick. It gets a B solely because of the value that I didn't think there was another running back that should be taken round one here. I thought Price should have been taken at the back of the second and then started the toll.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as the last couple picks where it's another team with secondary needs. And they have pretty big needs that they could have filled, and they didn't. And I think Jamal McCoy was the right pick here, and that would have been a steal at 32 for our Super Bowl winners.
That would have been an A plus. They won the first. They won the
Yep.
first day.
Yep, it would have been what crazy value didn't have to do anything, but they didn't do it, and they got Price, and that's a fine pick. He's a B, but
Yeah.
So all right, so that's about it. We got 2 minutes to talk about our guys best still available. Shoot, please.
Okay. In my opinion, best available right now, Jamal McCoy. I'm gonna follow that up with T.J. Parker, and then last but not least, we got Manuel McNeil Warren. That's gonna be my number three.
Awesome.
I did
So I'd
shoot
say for me, no, I got like a couple seconds.
right
I
from the
know
hip.
it's
Right
not,
from the
I
hip.
like it. Good. So I'd say my number one is Jamal McCoy. My number two available is Caden McDonald, and my number three is McNeil Warren. If I had to pick a four and a five, it's probably Colton Hood and Cassius Howell.
I'm
Probably my
going.
five.
I'm going Caden McDonald and then Denzel Boston.
Fair. I like that. And there's a
Okay.
lot of fun wide receivers. Okay, who do we think's the first? Who do we think's? What's our favorite picks first off the board? What do we got for wide receivers? We got a minute.
Boston, I think is going to go. Since a lot of receivers didn't go in the Shit. Um,
Shit.
since a lot of receivers didn't go early, I think we're gonna see a lot go now. I like Surratt, maybe a day three guy.
Ooh.
Chris Brazzell, maybe in the third. Skylar Bell, and your favorite, Chris Bell. I think
Chris
he's
Bell.
going mid second.
Yep, I think he's going to go early today. I think
I think
Surratt's
he's
going
going to the
late.
Giants.
Please. But no, I think Surratt's going to be a Raider. I think they want him
Yeah,
bad. I think he's going to go third round to the Raiders. That would be
I
my
think so
projection
too.
of the day. Because I
100%.
think they want to give him some type of stability.
Yeah, let's
I
give him.
think that's all we got.
That's all we got today.
All
We're gonna
right,
need to
everybody.
clock from
Thank you
now
for
on.
listening. And if anyone's still here off of 2 hours or an hour 59 and 48, 49, 50, thank you guys for listening. This is the Friday version talking about round one. And check in Sunday for rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Bye bye.